of our distribution in FY20, and that'll happen for July, and they're talking August as well, if there's no budget in July, and I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a state budget in July. So more to come on that as we follow along on the state's budget process.
Thank you, Anthony. Anything else you want to say on your report?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. I've already said what I'm going to say, and that, so I guess we move to the consent agenda.
I got that one, Jack.
Go ahead.
All right. I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the consent agenda, including the following open meeting minutes of December 7th, 2019, and June 2nd, 2020.
Second.
Do I have a,
Yep.
okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Catherine, yes.
John, aye.
Jack, yes. Unanimous, it's approved.
Thank you.
Discussion on financial position for fiscal 2020. I think you can take that, Anthony.
We're actually, did we skip over Mary Beth?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did that twice. Mary,
Oh, yeah.
my
Yep.
apologies.
No apology needed. Thank you,
All right.
everyone, for tuning in this evening. It's a pleasure to see you all, and a distinct pleasure to provide you the update that we are on day 29 with no new confirmed cases of COVID in the town, and 17 days since the last probable case, and there has been no increase in deaths in the town. So I'm very pleased to provide you that information. Things are going well. We are following along with what you can see in the state dashboard in terms of numbers. But I would again reassure, as I usually do, that that does not mean that we should relax our vigilance. We still need to all be practicing our everyday practical prevention measures. And to review, that's good hand hygiene, washing your hands frequently with soapy water for 20 seconds, or using alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Be sure to keep your distance of at least 6 feet from people not of your household. And get outside, get some good exercise, but do so with the preparation of having a face covering with you that can cover your nose and mouth, so that if you do encounter others as you're enjoying the great outdoors, you can protect others. Other things to note, we are, from the public health standpoint, responding to citizen questions and concerns and providing information. With being in phase 2, step 2, youth sports and recreation activities are gearing up to provide offerings. And so I am working together with Sean Timmons, who is present, as well as my colleagues in public health in Hamilton, to provide training and guidance for staff for different activities, as well as guidance as we look at the health and safety guidance of different sport activities. And, you know, should anybody in the town have questions or concerns that they'd like some guidance, do feel free to reach out to me directly and call Town Hall. We have been working, as we've discussed in previous meetings, together to plan for a safe election this Thursday, as well as town meeting. And I just want to thank everybody for doing a wonderful job in continuing to exercise vigilance. And I'm thrilled with how things are going now, but still want to encourage everybody to keep working hard. I know this has been a really, really challenging time for all of us, and we just need to stay the course to get through to the other side, which we can do. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to entertain any questions if you have them.
Anybody have any questions of Mary Beth?
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you, Mary Beth. Appreciate it.
I think you stunned us all. Thank you.
Anthony, you want to discuss our financial position for fiscal 2020? It's on the agenda.
One more question, Mary Beth. Is the Wenham Canal, do we know if that got opened up yet?
I can tell you that in my own exercise, I do frequently walk on Cherry Street, and I do see the sign still up, moved to the side. I was on the rail trail over the weekend, and on one trip, I saw the sign blocking the path from the rail trail to the canal. There's a path that connects those two. The sign was up. And on another trip back, it was moved to the side. I'm assuming that was probably done by somebody who wanted to access the trail. Jackie could confirm this for me, but the Salem Beverly Water Board is responsible for that property.
Mhm.
When we opened our trails after closure, they were informed that we were opening our trails, and they continued to have that signage up. So as far as I know, we do not, we don't control that, and they have not chosen to open it thus far. So I would say for people who are interested in trails, we have a number that are open. If you'd like to get more information, Jackie, can you give me a head nod? Can we call Town Hall to access a trail list for people who are looking for different places to walk in town?
Jackie, you're muted.
Yes, sorry, my space bar is not working. Yes, we will have that soon, but we have not yet received it from the Community Center for GIS. So I believe the Open Space Committee will be meeting potentially either this week or next and receiving a final draft. And as soon as we've got those from them, we'll get them up on the website for people, and we'll have printed copies available eventually.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Mary Beth. Thank you, Jackie.
Mhm.
Sorry, jump off topic. Jack, so the next item, Chris Holak, our interim finance director, is here, who will provide with the update. And Jackie, if you can just share Chris's cash flow. Chris, is that what you need?
Thank you, Jackie. So here's the updated cash flow through June 22nd. We've collected just shy of 19 million so far, which is about 98.55% of our estimated revenue for our budget. So we're doing pretty well on our revenue collection. Including that is our real estate, which is we've collected 97.7% of our real estate, and we're at 97.83% of our motor vehicle excise. So people have still been paying their real estate and motor vehicle, which is a good sign. As you can see, we still have one more state aid payment, and I'm estimating about 82,000 more of local receipts, which includes water revenue. We have our Gordon College fire reimbursement waiting to come in, permits, interest, and smaller miscellaneous things would make up the rest of those local receipts. So we're projecting about 19,100,000 of revenue, and then down to expenses. We've through 6/22, which was our last AP warrant, we had spent approximately 18,440,000. We have two more payrolls remaining to be paid. One we just processed. I just received today. That I'll get into SoftWrite, our accounting system, later this week, and then we'll have one more payroll. And also included in that salaries is our budgeted amount of 30,000 for the potential 2% non-union merit increase. And then there is two remaining AP warrants, and we are I'm estimating 275,000 of that, which I just did one today, and it came up. I was estimating about 125,000 per warrant, and with 25,000 just in case. And the warrant today actually only came out to be about 67,000. So that estimate for expenses is probably is a little high just to be on the safe side. So with all that, it's still looking like we'll be positive between our revenue and expenses of approximately 25,000 in the good.
That's good news. Thank you.
Good news is right, Chris, Jack Wilhelm, that this is very good news. But I was quite surprised to read in some paper last week, I think it was, I don't know if it's Salem Evening News or someplace, that they listed the percent delinquent on mortgage payments in various towns. And I was shocked to see that Wenham is having a default rate or a deficiency rate of approximately 25%. So that, so according to this newspaper article, 25% of the people who have mortgages in Wenham were late in payments. So that I'm glad they're paying their taxes so we can pay our bills. But that was a shock to me.
That is a shock because we have historically, at least for the past 3 years that I've been here, we've always collected between 97 and 98% of our real estate revenue.
So that article was very misleading, it sounds like.
I would agree.
Any questions for Chris among the selectmen?
No, great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Strong.
Chris.
Thank you.
D, which is Catherine, update on the summer 2020 recreation programs. Catherine.
It sounds like, I think Sean Timmons maybe is going to give us that update. Is Sean?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Sean. So
Do you guys have,
Thank you.
do you have the slides that I sent over?
Yeah, Jackie will pull them up.
Great. So while Jackie brings those slides up, just want to provide everyone with just a brief overview of the decisions that we've made up to this point and how we are moving forward with, with our recreation programs for this summer. Certainly, it's been a challenging few months as we prepared for this. So I just have about 10 slides or so. Hopefully, won't take up too much of your time, but just want to provide, like I mentioned, just an update on how we came to our decisions and how we're planning on moving forward. So, Jackie, you can move on to the first slides. Thanks. So just to briefly talk about our pool operations, and we really needed to, project what we thought we were gonna, for our revenue and what our operations were gonna be. We didn't get guidance from the state about pool operations until June 6th. So normally by June 6th, we have all of our staff ready. We're ready to take the cover off the pool, and we're ready to go because we usually open up the second Saturday in June. So, when we were looking at it and projecting, we thought that, our pool would operate for a 6-week season. Because we hadn't taken the cover off, we normally take it off in May because we delayed that. It takes a good 3 to 4 weeks to get the pool cleaned and ready to go for the public. So we were really looking at a shortened 6-week season. Our pool, the pool guidance from the state limited us to 40% capacity, and that includes staff. So for our pool, that would have meant 30 patrons could have been in the pool at any given time with 5 staff members. So we could only have 35 total people in the pool area at once. So what we did is we projected our hours of operation and moved to a reservation style. The last thing we really wanted to have happen was a 100-degree day, and we had 85 people show up to the pool, and we can only let 30 in. So really, we were looking at a reservation in advance style where folks could swim for an hour and a half. Then we would escort them out. We'd sanitize the area, and then we'd let the next group in. One thing that really hurt us with the pool guidance, our Essex Swim League got canceled. In phase 2 of pool operations, no in-person swim lessons are allowed. And as part of the camp guidance that was released by the state, camps could not swim in any what they called communal pools or community pools. So that really impacted us both for the camp as well as for the pool. So by taking those 3 things away from us, that historically or based on last year, cost us just over a $45,000 loss of revenue. Go ahead, Jackie.
Question on that, Sean, if I could.
Yeah.
Is there a way in which you could possibly make up that 45,000 loss, or is that just lost?
So that would be that would be lost revenue that you know, I mean, I guess we could by charging people an exorbitant amount to attend the pool, but you know, that's almost 50% of our total revenue that we bring in for pool operations is just based on those three things. So again, you know, as I mentioned, you know, our reservations, we wouldn't be able to allow memberships. We'd have to create designated seating areas marked off and socially distant. Our staff and patrons, based on the guidance, we would have had to have had them in masks, and our changing rooms would have been closed. Our showers would have been closed. So those are all part of that phase 2 guidance, or the guidance from the state.
Okay, thank you. You get more than your share of challenges this year, as we all sort of do, but you have no idea how to figure any of this stuff. And then you get the weather to deal with.
Yep. Oh, Jackie, did you lose it?
Thank you, Sean.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, Sean, that box was just a parent kept popping up, so we was just trying to fix it. So that's
Oh,
why-
okay, perfect. Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah.
You can go to the next one, Jackie. So when I think you went backwards. Thank you. So when we looked at our financials, you know, we did have to make a couple assumptions. We projected our revenue based on a 66% capacity at the pool. So obviously we were going to run into bad weather. You know, we had 120 spots per day. You know, certainly, you know, there'd be certain days where we only have 100 spots filled with the reservations. So, you know, we can't assume that we're going to have 100% of all those spots filled. And for our expenses, we sort of did the same thing where with our staff working at 90% of the assumed operation at time. We weren't going to allocate any money to new uniforms. We would have had a decrease in program supplies due to only having open swim, decrease in chemical cost. But, you know, we'd have an increase in custodial cost to make sure that we're maintaining and sanitizing, you know, every hour and a half. And certainly, you know, there are a number of fixed costs with the pool, the opening, the closing, and then, you know, our utilities where we run usually based off an 11-week season. So these are all things that we took into account when we projected our financials. Go ahead, Jackie. So how I projected it was not over the entire summer. I projected it more on a weekly basis because we were reducing our actual number of weeks that the pool was going to operate. So based on all those fixed costs and all the fixed costs and all the new costs, the pool would operate somewhere around $7,000 a week. Good. So this just shows you, based upon the operational cost, if we charge folks the drop-in rate, how much money we would have either gained or in this case lost per week. So even if we charge folks $12 per person to swim for an hour and a half, we still would have been losing money over the course of the week. And just charging $12, you know, so for a family of 5, that's, you know, in my opinion, an exorbitant amount of money. And not only is that one time, we needed consistent attendance at the pool to make sure that we were creating money. So, you know, any way we looked at it, it really looked like the pool from a financial standpoint was going to lose anywhere, you know, being realistic with how much we could charge from a drop-in rate, you know, anywhere from, you know, probably $2,000 to $3,000 a week of operation. And this is only based on a 6-week season. If we extended the season to 7 weeks or 8 weeks, you know, we would have total would have lost more money. So this is just based on a 6-week season. So moving forward, the towns decided to close the pool. So we refunded all the money that we collected, and that will end our fiscal year balance in the pool revolving fund with a balance of negative $800. You know, the revolving funds are tricky, especially in recreation, where all of our expenses happen the prior summer, at the beginning of the fiscal year, and we try to recoup that money at the end of the fiscal year. So we spent for the summer of 2019 all the money to operate the pool, but weren't able to recapture that revenue at the beginning of this, or at the end of this fiscal year, excuse me. We still have to remove the cover and run the filter. We have to clean the pool to make sure that when we open it up next year, that the pool is operational and we don't run into any problems. So we'll be doing that next fiscal year, and we'll be doing that sometime in July. And then the cover gets put back on shortly thereafter. It comes off, so we're not going to have any debris or any patrons maybe hopping the fence to try to get into the pool. So the cover will be on shortly after that we take it off. So that was kind of the general pool presentation. I don't know if anyone had questions specific to the pool, and I can get into our park program and how we're moving forward with that.
Sean, this is John. Is the pool actually open at this point or not?
No, the pool is closed for the summer.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So, yeah, so the decision was made, I believe, back on June 12th to close the pool for the summer, and really based upon all the information that we just provided.
Gotcha. You had to cut your losses and figure out how to deal with it.
Correct, because not only would that impact us for this summer, but that would impact us financially for the pool for next summer and summers to come. So, the idea of a revolving fund and the idea of how the pool operated is the pool covers its costs.
I feel particularly bad for the whole communities because of this.
Yeah,
everybody cloistered at home, and now even the pool is not there. So
yeah, and it is tough for municipal pools that operate on their own for a summer season. We're certainly not alone. Lexington, Belmont, Weston, all decided right around the same time that we decided to not operate their pools this summer for very similar reasons. Any other questions on the pool? No. So we also made the decision to cancel our Patton Park summer program. So as you may know, our Patton Park summer program has about 180 kids a day at Patton Park. And based upon some of the guidance that I've talked earlier about that was released from the state, it would be really difficult for us to replicate that in any fashion this summer. So of course, our pool usage the camp would not be allowed to use the pools. We wouldn't be allowed to go on field trips because there's no visitors allowed at any camps or at any camps as part of the guidance. We would have had to have moved the location from Patton Park. There was strict drop off and pickup policies. Our lack of safe indoor space would have led it to be a shine only program, meaning that if it rained, we would have had to cancel the day. Our maximums would have been greatly reduced in the number of children that we could have served. And one of the things too that we ran into is we open our registration for our park program the first week of March. So we already had over 100 registrations for our park program before we had to close registrations due to COVID-19. So, we were in a tough situation where we had more folks already registered and paid for a program that we couldn't deliver on. And of course, because we're reducing our numbers, we had some financial concerns because of the new size of the program. Go ahead, Jackie. So what we did is we created Summer 2.0 brochure, which was just released last Wednesday. So we have over 50 in-person and virtual programs. These programs mostly are going to run out of the recreation center outside, small class sizes, no more than 10 to 12. Per class. We have socially distant activities. We're creating outdoor classrooms with the use of tents at the recreation center. We're doing enrichment programming, nature programming, computer programming, sports programming, which right now is more instructional than gameplay, and some theater and art. So we've worked really hard since made the decision to cancel the park program to kind of pivot and to offer other programs. Go ahead, Jackie. And, obviously happy to report that our registration opened on Monday, this past Monday, so yesterday. And we have over 50, which right now we have close to 75 registrations already. So within 24 hours, we've had over 75 registrations for our new program. So, I think although the summer will be different, certainly, I do think that we're going to be able to provide the community members, some sort of programming over the summer. I don't know if anyone has any questions about the summer programming specifically.
No.
Thank you, Sean. That was very good. Disappointing, but very good.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, next one is F. We're going to pass over the annual performance that's underway, evaluating.
E, Jack.
Right, I'm sorry. You, E.
I'll take it.
You, E. Go ahead.
E.
Go
All
ahead,
right.
Sorry.
So, Jack, at a prior meeting, when we were faced with COVID and our concerns about cash flow and whether or not we would have lower than expected receipts in property taxes and other local receipts, as Chris mentioned, excise tax. The board at that time decided to put on bay the $30,000, which is what we budget for the merit program. So this is the year 3 of the merit program, and Chris has indicated that he expects that we would have the funds to continue on with the merit program. So what I'm looking for on this is if the selectmen's desire to release those and start use those again for the merit program for FY 20.
Did you have a motion?
I have a motion.
Okay, please.
I move, Anthony, you can tell me if this works, but I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the FY20 merit pay program.
It works.
I'll second your motion, Catherine.
Thank you. Discussion?
All in favor?
Catherine, yes.
John, yes.
All yes, unanimous. Sorry. That was Catherine's thing. Sorry, Catherine.
It's okay.
Item F, we're going to pass over. It'll be
G.
a meeting after that, where it's under discussion. G, discussion of potential approval regarding annual town meeting July 11, 2011. I, discussion of potential approval to reduce the quorum. Well, really was a concern we've been discussing, but I think that after hearing several sources that the town of Hamilton had 526 people, I believe that's the official count, that arrived at the outdoor meeting last Saturday. I don't think we have any concern we're going to match our quorum, which is 125. So I think that there was concern amongst the selectmen and other people that perhaps we should reduce it to some other one. I had Anthony do a survey of towns in Essex County. Most of the towns in Essex County, whether they were thinking of reducing it, 1 or 2 said yes, they were thinking about it. 1 did actually have it. The quorums are all over the place. The average was 100, 125. By way of comparison, Hamilton is 75. There was a couple of towns at 200, and 1 town was 300, and 1 town had 0. And I think 1 town had 30. So that we were expecting a more robust conversation tonight, but certainly the town of Hamilton has taught us that our problem is not how few people might show up, but can we actually accommodate all the people who really want to come to the town meeting? And that's my concern, which I've been discussing with Anthony. So I think that my conversation with Anthony yesterday was that I think we're expecting somewhere between call it 250 and 300 people to show up at our annual town meeting. And so the question is, can we safely accommodate all those people? And that's the challenge. And that you want to talk about that, Anthony, please?
Yeah, so Jack, here we have thank you, Nikki, who put together this preliminary sketch of how our town meeting will work. So as you'll see from the north, Porter Street will be a drop-off area for those that need to be dropped off, would walk on that walkway. And our tent right here is 100 by 180. It seats 384 people. What we've experienced and through looking at other towns' town meeting, that And we were doing the same thing as we were going to socially distance each chair 6 feet apart. But a lot of people come with people in their family and they're able to socially distance. They can be together at that point. So we're going to do 1 seat, 2 seat, 1 seat, 2 seat. So that would, the tent that we have is much larger than the tent that Hamilton had. So with that configuration, we're able to get 384 people underneath the big top. This to the right and to the left is overflow area where if we have to, it'll be outside. Hopefully it'll be good weather. Those will be on lawns, and some people maybe with families that may have not have any alternative but to bring a child because of no babysitting or something, may desire to sit on a blanket out there. So we're going to have that area available too. We have our restrooms. We have parking accommodations, which will be right here, will be for handicap parking. And there'll be the entrance from Main Street. And we'll be parking on the grass on Pingree. So that's right now our preliminary. We'll have a first aid emergency tent. Our fire department will be there. Ambulance will be on site the whole time. We will have water. We will have face coverings for those that don't have them. More than enough to cover anybody that needs them. We'll have our hand sanitizer there. One thing that we found from other town meetings that the projectors, you have to get LED screens. Those are quite expensive. So what we're discussing now is eliminating that because nobody's really, the only one that would do a presentation would be the school department. I did speak with Superintendent Kuchenberger last night and let her know that that's a possibility and that if she could send along the school's presentation, we could send it to the moderator for approval, get that on our website, let our residents know that the school's presentation would be available on our website. Also, we're going to have Wi-Fi, what we're planning to. So if you were to bring your tablet or a laptop, we're hoping that you'll be able to connect to the internet and be able to access the web from Pingree. In any event, the warrant book has been mailed out and will be mailed out. So we're asking residents to please bring copies that you get mailed to you. That is the copy that you need. And I think that's it right now. It's coming to my mind. Happy to answer any questions or hear any concerns or any comments. Anybody has anything?
I want to make a comment. First, congratulations, Anthony. I think you and your staff did a great job. I was very impressed when I saw this earlier this week or last week. And that I think it's pretty thorough, but I would encourage anybody in Wenhamite, that is, who thinks that we could do something different or better or that would make it safer to send your comments to Anthony so he could consider any modifications that might be warranted. But meanwhile, I thought it was a very, very good job.
And there's one comment in a chat room I just want to speak to as parking, Jack, is that I'm not quite sure that we don't have a CAD system that I actually figure out how many cars that we can park on Pingree, but we also have the library that will be available for parking as well. So I think we can get quite a number of cars on Pingree. I just can't give a number. Michelle asked that question, so.
I have one additional comment that one of the things I was impressed with that Hamilton was going to do was have clickers. They ordered 400 clickers. So instead of raising your hand with a card and yes or no, whatever, you could click and it would record your vote electronically. Unfortunately, with 526 attendees, they had to abandon the clickers because they didn't have enough clickers for everyone. So that I thought that was a neat idea, but I guess we're not going to do that. And so that
yeah, to speak to that quickly, Jack. So Hamilton a company was actually doing that for them for a demo and if it worked, they were going to look at purchasing it. So we were actually keeping our eye on Hamilton. Unfortunately, the number of, well, unfortunately, that the number of people that attended town meeting, that was fantastic, but there wasn't enough clickers. So therefore you have to collect the clickers. You can't have a hybrid approach. So, you know, it's unfortunate because we'd really like to see how that worked, but Ipswich, I believe, is using that technology this week. I was on the phone with the town manager there, Tony Marino, and he's going to give Joe and I a little update on how that went. And it might be something where the two towns could get together and maybe purchase clickers together, because, you know, if we had 400 and they had 600, well, there's 1,000 where we could each have available in the event of that we need them. So, you know, that makes the most sense. And that's why a lot of communities do not do clickers, is just because it can be really costly and you have to have enough to cover everybody. So the idea of sharing it is really what we've been talking on the North Shore, and certainly to keep people safe. You know, the virus will be going on to the fall. We're all going to have fall town meetings. Certainly, if at that point, it most likely, I would think it would be indoors, maybe not, but we certainly could still purchase clickers and in order to move town meeting along, and it could be eligible for CARES money. So Joe and I are keeping our eyes on that, and it may be something that we see differently in the fall.
It's an intriguing idea that I'm glad you're paying attention to that, to see if we could possibly adopt that with the town of Hamilton and make it work. And that it sounds like a good idea. Again, thank you very much, Anthony. That was a good job, you and your staff. I know several people, our fire department, police department, a lot of people participated in this design, and that highway department as well. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Yeah, Nikki and Diane Bucco and Jackie. It's just the team. The team's really coming together and really working hard on everything, including the elections. And I think that, you know, I think that they've done a great job, and we've all put our heads together on this. To answer a question from Michelle, chairs can go on the overflow section, Michelle. So if you look at the diagram to the right and to the left, there's overflow. That's grass. That's lawn. That's lawn seating. So you could put a chair there, but we will have chairs, and we will have extra chairs.
All right, that concludes our meeting. I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Looks like we have one more agenda item. Am I missing something?
What is that?
Something that the agenda was amended.
The sign bylaw.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Good catch, Catherine.
I think, didn't we?
It's highlighted on my agenda. It was hard to miss.
Yeah. I thought we covered that in the, yeah.
I don't even know what it means, Jack, so maybe you can explain what that agenda item is.
The first person who came in the chat room tonight was complaining about signs pickup. I thought we had, you were there, and we had a dialogue back and forth, and I think that we have a bylaw that you can't do that. And her point is, come on, you know, it's only a small strip of grass. Looks like our property. They maintain it. They have flowers out there and so on and so forth. And that I personally agreed with her, and that I think we should have a more relaxed. We should go back and review the town bylaw, and that in the fall, perhaps. We're only doing financial articles at our meeting coming up, and that although a bylaw prohibits it, I think that other than I'm going to repeat my comments I made earlier. As long as they don't put it in a town hall property, I mean town hall itself, you know, the Cheese Memorial, the War Memorial, other monuments in town, Confederate, the statue of the Confederate person there on the horse in front of First Church. You know, I think we should have a more relaxed policy, even though the bylaw says something different.
So I believe that there was, the only thing I've seen on this particular issue, and I heard your comments to the person who was speaking earlier, I heard your opinion, Jack, but the only thing I've seen on this was a complaint that came through John about signs on public land. So I'm kind of interested to hear what John has to say on this one as well.
Well, the original driver for the bylaw to begin with was because contractors were notoriously bad with putting their signs out and never collecting them up. And they'd sit out in front of people's houses for weeks to months. So that was my recollection of that. And it just seemed like there were so many signs popping up all over town. I thought we ought to take a look and see what's going on, not knowing where the limit might be. I get what you're saying, Jack, and I don't disagree a whole lot, but we're welcoming people to have signs if they want on their property. That avoids the bylaw conflict.
I think the original bylaw was a result of people putting signs on the former car barn lot, now the memorial, and that.
Yep.
I believe that was the impetus to that, and that we don't have that many signs around town this year. I don't think. Mostly two people were in the school committee and encouraging people to turn out for the voting for the town meeting, the town elections. I don't recall. And congratulating seniors on their graduation from the high school and the middle school. Beyond that, didn't see. I saw one Black Lives Matter sign, but I don't think they're offensive. And that there's just one person's opinion, although it's contrary to the bylaw. I'm just expressing my opinion that we have a more relaxed enforcement of the bylaw, as I described earlier.
So am I understanding correctly that we're giving direction to Anthony and through him to the that no signs should be removed at this point, no matter what they are? Just want to be clear that so he
That's
can.
not what I said. That's not what I said.
Okay, that's why I'm looking for some clarification.
Well, I'll say it again. I said if it's on the town hall property or across the street from the war memorial, I think that's inappropriate. I don't know of any signs on the town hall property now with the war memorial or the other memorials in town. But the person who was first in the chat room tonight basically saying, look, in front of my house, I maintain the property, maybe they cut the grass, I'm not sure. It's on a small strip of land and, come on. So, that's what I'm agreeing with. And that, but not all over town and not, I think people putting signs on, I don't know of anyone who's done so, on town hall property itself in front of town hall is inappropriate. My personal opinion. We have a bylaw to the contrary to that. I'm saying we should have a more relaxed view of it as I've described.
Yeah, and given, Jack, the craziness of what we're dealing with overall, I mean, just to see the signs congratulating the graduates from high school and college, it's kind of heartwarming to see that somebody's recognizing them. So maybe we just leave it alone for now, and if it dies off, it dies off. If it doesn't, we have the opportunity to review it in the fall.
Any further on that, Catherine?
No, again, it's not clear to me why that agenda item is on there. I thought it was due to a complaint, and I just want to be clear. I am all for actually changing the bylaw because I think there's a freedom of speech issue, but I just want to be clear that we're giving Anthony clear direction because we're basically saying to him to please, other than those few areas that you discussed, to not enforce our bylaw. And I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with that. I just want to be sure that it's clear so that he can talk to the building inspector, or if someone makes a complaint, that everybody receives the same consistent response. That's all.
I believe Anthony has the message.
Yep, Town Hall, War Memorial, Veterans Corner area there, no signs.
Okay, thank you.
I don't have a list in front of me. The Cheese Memorial, the other, obviously, we don't want it in front of the cemetery either,
Right.
You have to use common sense here. So
Yeah, the obvious, yeah. Okay.
Okay, I move that we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye, John.
Hi,
Hi,
Jack.
Catherine. Hi, Catherine.
Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good night.